Senator Inouye and his Chief of Staff, Patrick DeLeon, created and federally funded emergency medical care for children. They deserve credit for establishing pediatric EMS nationwide. In 1984, Patrick DeLeon was in Connecticut when he had to rush his baby to the hospital. She had meningitis. Meningitis in babies can be deadly. Patrick and his wife soon discovered it was difficult for emergency rooms to care for seriously ill infants. Emergency rooms were designed for adults, not children. In those days, the typical ER cared for adult victims of heart attacks and car accidents. After his daughter survived, and with the backing of Senator Inouye, Patrick pushed to create pediatric care in emergency rooms. This was during the conservative Reagan administration. Senator Inouye and Patrick DeLeon partnered with Republican Senators Lowell Weicker from Connecticut and Jake Garn from Utah to co-sponsor and pass pediatric EMS. Federal grants were available to purchase pediatric equipment and training. Ambulances were equipped with pediatric medical supplies. Training and psychosocial care was also included because Patrick's 7-year-old son had to hear his little sister was going to die. Emotional care for parents and siblings is important during a medical crisis. Pediatric EMS is now available throughout the United States and its territories.
We were up in New England, and she had meningitis, and she was very small. Had to drive down the icy road to the emergency room, as I was saying. The drunk standing there keeping warm, pretending he was sick. Everything was stereotyped. They told us that she'll be dead by morning, right? And I afterwards said, to what extent did you think about the psychosocial aspects of telling her brother? How do we handle that? Next day, she said, be brain damage for life. She went on to graduate from Emory, got a law degree from GW. Now it's a prosecutor in Kona, Kailua Kona, on the Big Island. So they were wrong. But basically what we did over time, and we had hearings in this, used to be that ambulances didn't have the right equipment, okay? So if you a kid in an accident, one ambulance driver we were talking with said, I'm so tired of putting the same sandbag when we had a kid in an accident. It's the vomit from the last kid is still in it. But now, over the program, we started with $1 million, got it to 2 million, got it up to 20 million. It's holding very nicely. The pediatricians are very good, and at $20 million, you're coming up with new ways to create care for kids because kids are not little adults. Respond differently to medication, different kinds of injuries, et cetera, different equipment. And when I was up in Alaska once, they were showing me their healthcare system, and they brought out this tray. We can tell if a kid's coming in helicopter in the winter, it's a bit, or that kind of baby, we know what size. Because in this great grant we got, I'm laughing internally saying, yeah, that's what we created. We revolutionized the care for kids in emergency rooms by putting fudge money out there for people to come up with creative programs. When I was down in American Samoa, they showed me the pediatric EMS ambulance they have.
When that baby girl, Katie DeLeon, was in elementary school, she received a precious gift from Senator Inouye.
The three of us were driving home. And actually, 2 quick stories about him. One of which is, I said, Kate's going to be with us. He said, why? I said, well, because she's downtown. She's here visiting the office. Jean dropped her off. And so 3 of us drove home. I picked him up every morning, took him home every night. 6 to 7 days a week sometimes. And anyhow, so he had her hand all bandaged. She said, what happened? And she said, well, I was chasing my brother and the door slammed on my hand. And he tried real hard to get her to say it was his fault. And she kept saying, no, my fault. Didn't run fast enough. No, not his fault. And they looked at favorite color. And I think she said blue or red. I think it was blue. So dropped her off at home, went and dropped him off. Said, wait a minute. Okay. Came out and gave me this battlefield medal with the ribbon. Said, give us to Kate. She's braver than I was. I was just the wrong place, the wrong time. Wow. So I did. She took it in and showed it to her class, grammar school people. I said, at some point, you got to donate it to him in his honor to, a place. Well, it's now at the Uniformed Services, University of Health Sciences School, NUK Inouye Graduate School of Nursing, and there's his real battlefield memo. And actually, when I gave it to them at one point, the president, who was Navy, called me and said, "That's his real one. I checked it out. The number is right on the back." I said, "Yeah, that's the real one."
Now that's a good story, dude. I've never heard that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
So he was very much a person, right?
Yeah.
Katie donated Senator Inouye's Battlefield Medal to the United States Military Graduate School of Nursing in Bethesda, where the medal is on display. Little Katie is now Catherine DeLeon, a lawyer in Hawaii. She is a prosecutor in Kona.